To police officers, how are you feeling seeing how the situation was handled in Texas? My city had a mass shooting where 10 people died 3 years ago. It took 6 responding officers 32 seconds to kill the active shooter. My coworker is a relative of one of the officers who responded that night. She told us that he thinks these cops deserve to burn in hell for abandoning those children. Military police here. I am angry beyond words at the tragedy that has taken place. MP training is direct to threat, and even without hearing gunshots we are required to breach the building and begin securing it, so if people are shot inside we can create a clear corridor for casualties to be collected and treated. These cowardly pieces of shit should turn in their badges and be held accountable for their inaction. I literally never comment on anything but felt like I should hear. I've only been on the job for a year and change in the largest department in America, and while we're definitely not perfect, I've been to a few shootings personally, and even with shots ringing out within visual range I've never seen any one of my coworkers run away or just wait for ESU cause they could get shot, and I know I've never ran away. While I can understand being afraid, I can't understand not doing their job. We're first responders, and as such it's our job to go in there and get it done. Backup be damned. I hate Monday night quarterbacking, but I've risked my life on this job for way less, so when other officers wait idle while kids get gunned down it makes me mad. As an active police officer of 22 years, I would have died trying to prevent even one additional child from being harmed. I could not live with myself knowing that I stood outside while children were dying inside. Words cannot describe my disgust for what has happened there. My heart aches for both the deceased and their loved ones. I hope they fire everyone who did nothing and the judge tosses any criminal charges against parents. Just typing this and saying it out loud has gotten me all fired up again. Retired LEO, the words disbelief and disgusted hardly scratch the surface. Charge all of them with negligent homicide / involuntary manslaughter. To add to the points the others are making, imagine the effect on the children's parents. They already have the horror of their child being killed, knowing that their last moments were filled with terror and pain, but that's now compounded by the thought that their child could have been saved, if it were not for the cowardice of the people they trusted to protect them. These poor souls are now broken. Ashamed of this agency and their so-called chief. If the shooter is isolated, you wait because time is on your side to negotiate. If they are actively shooting people, action must be taken. Just because the SCOTUS says there's no duty to intervene, I think most LE agencies' policy and, obviously, public opinion beg to differ. In Britain, there was an attacker with a machete on London Bridge, and our unarmed police officers ran towards him with only pepper spray and batons, literally hitty sticks. In fact, one was an off-duty transport police officer with no gear at all. I can't fathom the slowness of the response in Texas. Federal law enforcement here. I took a one-day active shooter training last year. The theme they kept hammering into us was stop the killing, so you can stop the dying. Meaning, you need to find the shooter as fast as possible to kill or incapacitate him. Nothing else matters before then. They had role players with like fake blood / injury kits on screaming for help, and we just stepped around / over them in our way towards the sound of gunfire. Once the shooter is dead, then you sprint back and start evacuating and treating people. Also, you go in alone or grab a couple other responders on your way in. You don't methodically clear rooms, you don't secure stuff, and you certainly don't try to do crowd control. I see a lot of people on Reddit say standard police procedure is fill in the blank, and they are usually wrong. However, almost everyone is exactly right on what I've seen about active shooter training. And it's been that way since fucking Columbine. There is no excuse for police leadership in Uvalde to not know this. Typically I try to not judge people in these scenarios because there's so many different factors and challenges that affect your decision making. However, in this case, and in Parkland, fuck these guys. They should be fired and never work in law enforcement again. A lot of people, some police included, sometimes think that valor is like an everyday thing. It's definitely not. That's why we hand out medals for it. but to see officers just stand outside that classroom as children were shot and bleeding to death is awful and unforgivable.